I just want to take a second to introduce you to a group of young men. Deontay, Derrick, we call him Little Derrick, Ricky, now I've forgotten the fourth guy's name. They're all 37 now. I knew them when they were in pre-kindergarten. I tutored and mentored them through the 5th, 6th grade, remained friends with them since. I particularly want to tell you about Little Derrick and Deontay. Little Derrick would go to school and they'd put him in a side class, mostly special education. They'd let him sleep and he would come out making A's and B's and falling further and further behind every year. Deontay was similar. Now Deontay didn't struggle as much academically, and I would tutor him mostly in math because that's where his will was waning. And I can remember, we were in our 4th year of tutoring. He was in the 4th grade, and I remember saying, we need to do some math homework. He'd always say, well, we're not doing math this year. And I'd say, well, of course you're doing math. So I would come up with games. I kind of knew what 4th graders were supposed to know. He kept saying, we're not doing math this year. So it got to be around Thanksgiving and my frustration level was growing. And I said, Deontay, we have a relationship where we go, get food and go to museums and you come hang out at my house. I'm going to go to the school tomorrow. If you're not telling the truth, it's going to damage our relationship. He looked me square in the eye and said, I'll see you at school tomorrow because we're not doing math. So I marched down there, waited till school ended. I walked into his classroom. He introduced me. Deontay was always very good about introducing me. And I said, Deontay here says you're not doing math. He said, yeah, we're not doing math. I said, not this week. I said, but he's saying you're doing it at all this year. He said, sir, if they don't give me a textbook to teach it, I don't teach it. Now, I got to tell you, my breath left my body. My hands were gripping my pants so that they wouldn't come around his neck. And I tried to explain to him, there's a lot of ways to teach math without a textbook. And he said, sir, again, if they don't give me a textbook, I don't teach it. Now this is DC in the late 80s, early 90s. These kids, their spirit for education died. We tutored, mentored, we adopted one of the young men. But I can tell you, the schools back then were better than I see in Richmond today. And when I visit Richmond now, my heart just sinks knowing the individual stories of these young men and women that are in schools. Last month, Richmond Public Schools did what they called a class lock, which means that the kids can't transition classes and the teachers have to transition because they're too afraid of the fights in the hallway. This is what the kids are facing in the Richmond Public Schools. I also had the opportunity to work for Newt Gingrich doing the DC School Choice Initiative. If you see the movie Miss Virginia or some of these other things about the DC school choice movement, but I remember the first assignment I was given was to go to the best high school in the district. So I called them up and they said, blue math and science. I said, math and science is going to be good. I walked in and I got to tell you, it was literally like a scene from Stand and Deliver. Kids were in the hallways, laying down, playing, joking. The principal was walking me around, not even embarrassed. And I just turned to him and I said, shouldn't these kids be in class? I'd been there for 2 hours. I said, shouldn't they be in class? I was looking in the windows and I'd see like 4 or 5 kids in a classroom and everyone else just out playing. He said, sir, he goes, this is Anacostia. Because we have a lot of violence, and I will say violence back then was a lot worse than it is today. He said, it's a victory if they're just in school. And I said, wouldn't it be a bigger victory if they were in class? Was not well received. I tell you this story only to say today, those students can go to the best private schools in Washington, D.C. Those students can go to Cornerstone School, which my wife and I founded, a classic Christian school for low-income kids in Southeast, where they'll learn the classics and debate Plato and read Homer and argue about it and complain about it. There's so many options. There's Afrocentric schools, there's ballet schools, there's KIPP. There's literally the options in DC are astronomical. They're unbelievable. You have so many choices, all because students can get a voucher to leave a failing school and go in DC to go to a private school. There's even a boarding school that they get to choose as their home life is too bad. You go to Richmond, these kids locked in their classrooms, they don't have an option. There aren't really options out there because there's no financing, there's no funding. We need to do in Virginia what we did in DC. And I will say this is the biggest And I don't say this lightly, this is the biggest civil rights issue of our day. We want African Americans and everyone to succeed in this country.
Absolutely.
And we don't do that on the back end through affirmative action and other things. We do it on the front end through schools that will prepare them with the virtue and wisdom they need to be successful citizens.
Amen.
And then we can all rest assured that our country will be better off, more productive. It's almost too late for some of these kids. We can't wait another day. I would also say for those of you who send your kids to schools in Loudon, in Arlington, just stop in and visit. Ask the kids how many books they read. You'll be shocked at what's not happening in the best schools in Virginia. We need Basis Academy. We need all kinds of schools like that in Virginia that would open with market forces. You don't go to your grocery store based on your zip code. You don't go to your hospital based on your zip code. You don't go to a restaurant based on your zip code, but your kids go to a school based on their zip code, whether that school is good, bad, meets their needs, or doesn't meet their needs. So let's keep pushing, let's keep fighting. Again, I'm with the Thomas Jefferson Institute. Look us up online. Thank you guys.